Ezekiel 46. Thus says Adonai Elohim, the gate of the inner court that faces on the east will be shut for the six working days. On Yom Shabbat it will be opened, and in the day of the new moon it will be opened. The prince will enter by way of the porch and the gate from the outside and stand by the posts of the gate. Then the Kohanim will prepare his burnt offering and his fellowship offerings. He will worship at the threshold of the gate and then go out. The gate will not be shut until the evening. The people of the land will worship at the door of the gate before Adonai on Shabbatot and new moons. The burnt offering that the prince offers to Adonai on Yom Shabbat will be 6 lambs without blemish and a ram without blemish. The grain offerings will be an ephah for the ram. The grain offering for the lambs will be a gift of his hand and a hin of oil for an ephah. On the day of the new moon, there will be a young bull without blemish, 6 lambs, and a ram. They must be without blemish. He will prepare a grain offering, an ephah for the bull and an ephah for the ram, for the lambs, whatever his hand may reach, and a hin of oil for an ephah. When the prince enters, he will enter by way of the porch of the gate, and he will also exit by that way. When the people of the land come before Adonai at the Moedim, whoever enters by the way of the north gate to worship will exit by the way of the south gate. Whoever enters by the way of the south gate must exit by the way of the north gate. He should not return by the way of the gate where he came in, since he must exit straight ahead. When they enter, the prince will come in among them. When they go out, they will go out together. At the feast of the Moedim, the grain offering will be an ephah for a bull and an ephah for a ram, and for the lambs a gift of his hand and a hin of oil for an ephah. Now if the prince prepares a freewill offering, burnt offerings, or fellowship offerings as a freewill offering to Adonai, the gate for him facing east must be open for him. Then he will prepare his burnt offering and his fellowship offerings as he does on Yom Shabbat. Then he will go out. After he exits, the gate should be shut. You are to prepare a lamb of the first year without blemish for a burnt offering to Adonai daily. Morning by morning you are to prepare it. Also you are to prepare a grain offering with it morning by morning, 1/6 of an ephah and 1/3 of a hin of oil to moisten the fine flour. A grain offering to Adonai continually. It is a perpetual statute. They will prepare the lamb, the grain offering, and the oil the morning by morning for a continual burnt offering. Thus says Adonai Elohim. If the prince gives a gift to any of his sons as inheritance, it will belong to his sons. It will be their possession by inheritance. But if he gives his inheritance as a gift to one of his servants, it will be his until the year of liberty, when it will revert to the prince. His inheritance will belong to his sons. The prince must not take from the people's inheritance, evicting them wrongfully out of their property. He must give inheritance to his sons out of his own property, so that many people will not be displaced, anyone from his own property. Excuse me. Then he brought me through the entrance that was at the side gate into the holy chambers for the Kohanim, looking north. Behold, there was a place at the far western end. He said to me, this is the place where the Kohanim will boil the guilt offering and the sin offering, where they will bake the grain so they don't bring them into the outer court to consecrate the people. Then he brought me out to the outer courtyard and led me past the 4 corners of the courtyard. Behold, in every corner of the courtyard there was another courtyard. In the 4 corners of the courtyard there were enclosed courts, 40 cubits long by 30 wide. These 4 in the corners had the same size. There was a row of masonry surrounding the 4. Boiling places were built under the surrounding rows. He said to me, these are the boiling places where the ministers of the house will boil the sacrifices of the people. Ezekiel 47, River of Life. Then he brought me back to the door of the house. Behold, water was flowing out from under the threshold of the house eastward, for the front of the house faced east. The water was flowing down from under the right side of the house, south of the altar. He brought me out by way of the north gate, and led me around outside by the way of the outer gate, the way of the gate looking east. Behold, water was trickling out from the right side. When the man went out eastward with a line in his hand, he measured 1,000 cubits, and he led me into the water to the ankles. Again he measured 1,000, and led me into the water to the knees. Again he measured 1,000, and he led me to the water up to the waist. Again he measured 1,000, and that was a river that it could not pass through, for the water had risen, water to swim in, a river that could not be crossed. He said to me, have you seen this, son of man? Then he brought me back to the bank of the river. When I had returned, behold, there were very many trees on the outside and on the other, along the bank of the river. Then he said to me, these waters go out toward the eastern region. They go down to the Arabah and enter the sea. When they arrive at the sea, the waters of the sea will flow and will become fresh. It will be that every living creature that swarms will live wherever the rivers go. There will be a very great multitude of fish, because this water goes there and makes the salt water fresh. So everything will be healed and live wherever the river goes. Fishermen will stand by it, from En-Gedi to En-Gailam. It will be a place for spreading of nets. Their fish will be of many different kinds, like the fish of the great sea, a huge quantity. Its swamps and marshes will not become fresh. They will be set aside for salt. On the river, on its banks, on this side and on that side, will grow every kind of tree or food. Its leaf will not wither, its fruit will not fail. It will bear new fruit every month, because its rivers Its water flows out from the sanctuary. Its fruit will be for food, and its leaf will be for healing. Borders of the Holy Land. Thus says Adonai Elohim, this will be the border by which you will divide the land for inheritance according to the 12 tribes of Israel, Joseph receiving 2 portions. You will inherit it, each like one another, as I lifted my hand to give it to your fathers. So this land will fall to you as an inheritance. This will be the boundary of the land on the north side from the Great Sea, by the way of Hethlon to the entrance of Zedad, Hamath, Berathath, Zibraim, which is between the border of Damascus and the border of Hamath, as far as Hazer Hatakan, which is on the border of Hauran. So the border of the sea will be Hazer Enan at the border of Damascus, with the territory of Hamath to the north. This will be the northern side. The east side, between Hauran, Damascus, Gilead, and the land of Israel, will be by the Jordan. You will measure from the northern border to the eastern sea. This will be the eastern side. The south side southward will be for Tamar, as far as the waters of Meribah Kadesh, to the Wadi of Egypt, to the Great Sea. This will be the southern side toward the south. The west side will be the Great Sea, from the southern border as far as the front of the entrance of Hamath. This will be the western side. You are to divide the land for yourselves to the tribes of Israel. So you are to divide it by lot for an inheritance for you and for the outsiders who dwell among you, who bears children among you. They will be like the native born of Bnei Israel. They will be allotted as an inheritance along with you among the tribes of Israel. In whatever tribe the outsider lives in, there you will give him his inheritance. It is a declaration of Adonai. Ezekiel 48. Now these are the names of the tribes. Dan's portions will be from the northern frontier beside the way of the Hethlon to the entrance of Hamath, Hazer Enan. At the north entrance of Hamath, at the northern border of Damascus beside Hamath, and from eastern side to side. Next to the territory of Dan, from the east side to side, the west will be Asher's one. Next to the territory of Asher, from the east side to the west, will be Naphtali's one. Next to the territory of Naphtali, from the east side to the west, will be Manasseh's one. Next to the territory of Manasseh, from the east side to the west, will be Ephraim's one. Next to the territory of Ephraim, from the east side to the west, will be Reuben's one. Next to the territory of Reuben, from the east side to the west, will be Judah's one. By Judah's border, from the east side to the west, will be the contribution which you will set aside. 25,000 cubits in width and in length, like one of the portions. From the east side to the west. The sanctuary will be in the midst of it. The allotment that you will set apart to Adonai will be 25,000 in length and 10,000 in width. The holy allotment will be a portion for these for the Kohanim. Toward the south it will be 25,000 cubits, and toward the west 10,000 in width. Toward the east 10,000 in width, and toward the south 25,000 in length. Adonai's sanctuary will be in the midst of it. A sanctified portion will be for the Kohanim of the sons of Zadok, who kept my charge and did not go astray as the Levites went astray when Bnei Israel went astray. It will be for them a portion set apart from the offering of the land, most holy by the border of the Levites. Alongside the border of the Kohanim, the Levites will have 25,000 in length and 10,000 in width. The entire length will be 25,000 and the width 10,000. They must not sell or exchange any of it to transfer the choice portion of the land, for it is holy to Adonai. The 5,000 that remain in the width in the front of the 25,000 will be for common use, for the city, for living, and for pasture land. The city will be in the midst of it, and will have these measurements on the north side: 4,500, the south side 4,500, the east side 4,500, and the west side 4,500. The city will have open land toward the north 250, toward the south 250, toward the east 250, and toward the west 250. The remainder of the length, according to the holy allotment, will be 10,000 eastward and 10,000 westward. It will be alongside the holy allotment. Its produce will be food for those who serve the city. Those who serve the city out of the tribes of Israel will till it. The whole allotment will be 25,000 by 25,000 square. You will set apart the holy allotment with the property of the city. What is remaining from this side and on the other side of the holy allotment and the city's property will be for the prince. What is adjacent to the 25,000 of the allotment toward the eastern border, the western word adjacent to the 25,000 western border alongside the portions will be for the prince. The holy allotment and the sanctuary of the house will be in the midst of it. The property of the Levites and the property of the city will be in the middle of what belongs to the prince. What belongs to the prince will be between Judah's border and Benjamin's border. As for the rest of the tribes, from the east side to the west will be Benjamin's one. Next to the territory of Benjamin, from the east side to the west will be Simeon's one. Next to the territory of Simeon, from the east side to the west will be Issachar's one. Next to the territory of Issachar, from the east side to the west will be Zebulun's one. Next to the territory of Zebulun, from the east side to the west will be Gad's one. Next to the territory of Gad to the southward, the border will be from Tamar to the waters of Meribah Kadesh to the Wadi out to the Great Sea. This is the land that you will divide by lot to the tribes of Israel as an inheritance, and these are their portions. This is the declaration of Adonai. These are the exits of the city on the north side. 4,500 by measure will be the great gates of the city named after the tribes of Israel. Gates northward, the Reuben gate 1, the Judah gate 1, the Levi gate 1. At the east side, 4,500 will be 3 gates. The Joseph gate 1, the Benjamin gate 1, the Dan gate 1. At the south side, 4,500 measured. by measure will be 3 gates: the Simeon gate 1, the Issachar gate 1, and the Zebulun gate 1. At the west side, 4,500 with their 3 gates: the Gad gate 1, the Asher gate 1, and the Naphtali gate 1. It will be 18,000 cubits all around. From that day on, the name of the city will be Adonai is there.